You see the message, and for a second, your body reacts before your mind understands what happened. It is only a few words on a glowing screen. Maybe it says, I do not feel the same way. Maybe it says, we went with another candidate. Maybe it says, nothing at all, which somehow feels even worse. Your stomach drops. Your chest tightens. Your face gets hot, even though nobody is in the room. You read it again, looking for some hidden meaning that will make it hurt less. Then your brain does something strange. It does not treat rejection like information. It treats rejection like danger. And that is the question. Why does rejection hurt so much? Why can a sentence, a silence, a look, or a closed door feel almost physical? The answer is not just that you are too sensitive. It is not just that you care too much. The answer goes much deeper than modern feelings. Because long before rejection meant an awkward message or an unanswered application, rejection could mean something far more dangerous. To an ancient human brain, being rejected was not only emotional, it was survival information. And your brain still remembers that, even when you do not. Rejection feels personal because, in modern life, it usually is personal. Someone does not choose you. Someone stops replying. Someone pulls away. A group does not include you. A person you admire seems indifferent. A crowd laughs at the wrong moment. A comment online says exactly the thing you were already afraid might be true. And immediately, your brain begins scanning for meaning. What did I do wrong? Was I not enough? Did they see something bad in me? Will everyone else see it too? This is the part people often dismiss as overthinking. But the brain is not overthinking randomly. It is trying to protect your place in the group. For most of human history, your place in the group mattered more than almost anything. Humans did not survive by being the fastest animal. We did not have claws. We did not have armor. We did not have the bite force of a predator, which is probably for the best, because office meetings would be much worse. We survived because we belonged to each other. We survived through cooperation, protection, shared food, shared knowledge, and social bonds. A human alone was vulnerable. A human inside a group had a chance. So the brain learned to treat social connection as a survival system. Belonging was not a luxury. It was shelter. It was food. It was protection. It was information. It was the difference between being beside the fire and being outside in the dark. That is why rejection reaches so deep. It touches an old alarm that was built in a world where exclusion could be deadly. Today, someone not texting back does not usually mean you will be abandoned in the wilderness. But your nervous system did not evolve in a world of read receipts, dating apps, job interviews, social media likes, and carefully worded emails. It evolved in small groups where reputation mattered. If the group trusted you, you were safer. If the group valued you, you had access to support. If the group turned against you, your future became uncertain. And the brain hates uncertainty almost as much as danger itself. This is where rejection becomes more than sadness. It becomes prediction failure. You expected connection, approval, acceptance, or at least neutrality. Instead, the brain receives a signal that says, maybe your place is not secure. That signal can feel like emotional pain because the brain wants you to pay attention. Pain is not only there to punish you, pain is there to focus you. Physical pain says, do not touch the fire again. Social pain says, do not ignore this threat to belonging. It is unpleasant by design. A brain that did not care about rejection may have missed important social danger. A brain that noticed rejection early could repair relationships, adjust behavior, protect status, or avoid further exclusion. In an ancient environment, that sensitivity could help keep you alive. But here is the uncomfortable part. The same system that helped humans survive can make modern rejection feel much larger than the situation deserves. A short message can feel like a tribal judgment. A missed invitation can feel like exile. A breakup can feel like your entire identity has been voted out of existence. One negative comment can outweigh 100 kind ones. Not because the negative comment is more true, but because the brain gives threat more weight than comfort. A compliment is pleasant. A rejection is information the survival system wants to investigate immediately. So it pulls your attention toward the wound. It replays the moment. It searches your memory. It asks what you missed. It creates alternate versions of the past where you said something better, looked calmer, acted cooler, or somehow became the person who would not have been rejected. This is where rejection becomes sticky. The event happens once. The brain repeats it many times. And each repetition can feel like new evidence. You are not being rejected once anymore. You are being rejected by your own memory. This is why rejection can hurt hours later, days later, or years later. The body may be sitting safely in a bedroom, but the brain is replaying an ancient social danger. It is trying to understand the pattern so it can prevent it from happening again. That sounds useful. And sometimes it is. But the modern brain often takes this too far. It does not simply learn. It interrogates. It does not simply remember. It loops. It does not simply ask, what happened? It asks, what is wrong with me? And that is where social pain becomes identity pain. A rejection is one event, but the brain can turn it into a story about your worth. They did not choose me becomes I am not chosen. They left becomes I am leavable. They judged me becomes I am defective. They ignored me becomes I do not matter. This is not logic. This is threat interpretation. When the brain feels socially unsafe, it tries to find the cause quickly. And because you are the easiest thing to analyze, it often turns the investigation inward. Maybe it was my face. Maybe it was my voice. Maybe I was too much. Maybe I was not enough. Maybe everyone can see something I cannot hide. The ancient brain does not need perfect accuracy. It needs fast explanations. In survival terms, a fast, wrong explanation can feel safer than no explanation at all. Uncertainty keeps the alarm on. A painful story can at least feel like control. This is one reason rejection can make people want to change themselves immediately. Change your appearance. Change your personality. Change your tone. Change your interests. Become more impressive. Become less needy. Become colder. Become impossible to hurt. The brain is trying to prevent future exclusion. It is trying to make you acceptable to the tribe again. But modern rejection is often more complicated than that. Someone may reject you for reasons that have little to do with your value. They may be unavailable. They may want something different. They may be overwhelmed. They may be protecting their own fears. They may simply not fit with you. But the nervous system does not like nuance when it is activated. It wants a clear threat and a clear solution. So it points the spotlight at you. This is where rejection becomes unfair. Not because rejection should never hurt. It should hurt. Connection matters. Love matters. Belonging matters. But rejection often hurts as if it reveals the whole truth about you, when it may only reveal a mismatch, a moment, a preference, a circumstance, or someone else's limitations. Your ancient brain does not naturally separate those things. It receives one signal, not accepted. Then it sounds the alarm. The second layer is status. Humans are not only sensitive to belonging, we are sensitive to rank, reputation, and social value. In small groups, reputation could shape who helped you, who trusted you, who defended you, and who wanted to cooperate with you. Being disliked or dismissed could affect your access to resources. Being respected could increase your safety. So rejection is not always just the loss of one person. It can feel like a public downgrade, even when nobody else knows. That is why private rejection can still feel humiliating. The room is empty, but your brain acts like the whole tribe saw it. You cringe. You imagine what they think. You feel exposed. Your body prepares for shame, because shame was designed to pull humans back into social alignment. Shame says, fix this before the group pushes you away. Again, that system had a purpose. But in modern life, it can activate in situations where there is no tribe watching, no actual exile, and no survival emergency. Just a person with a phone, sitting in bad lighting, staring at a message that somehow feels like a spear. And sometimes, rejection hurts because it threatens the future you imagined. You were not only attached to the person, the job, the group, or the opportunity. You were attached to the version of life that came with it. The relationship that might have happened. The career path that might have opened. The friendship that might have deepened. The identity that might have become real. Rejection does not only close a door in the present, it can erase a future your brain had already started building. And the brain reacts to that loss as if something has been taken. Because in a way, it has. Not physically, but psychologically. The imagined future was a map. Rejection tears the map. Now the brain has to redraw where safety, belonging, and meaning might come from next. That takes energy. That creates grief. That is why even a rejection you expected can still hurt. Expectation does not remove attachment. It only gives the brain a warning before the impact. There is another strange thing about rejection. It can make the rejected person desire approval even more from the same source that caused the pain. This seems ridiculous until you look at the survival logic. If one specific bond feels important for safety or identity, losing that bond creates urgency. The brain wants repair. It wants reconnection. It wants the threat reversed. So you may find yourself wanting a reply from the person who ignored you, wanting kindness from the person who dismissed you, wanting validation from the group that excluded you. Not because they are magical, but because your nervous system wants the alarm turned off by the same signal that turned it on. Acceptance says, you are safe again. Rejection says, check the perimeter. This is why people can know, logically, that someone is wrong for them and still feel desperate for their approval. Logic is reading the situation. The ancient brain is reading the threat. Those are not always the same document. The modern world makes this worse because rejection is now everywhere and often invisible. Ancestral rejection was usually direct and social. A face turned away. A group excluding you. A partner leaving. A conflict by the fire. Today, rejection can arrive through silence. No reply. No invitation. No callback. No match. No eye contact. No explanation. The brain is left with missing information. And missing information is fertile ground for fear. When the brain does not know why something happened, it fills the gap. Usually not with the kindest theory. It fills it with a theory that best prepares you for danger. Maybe they hate me. Maybe I embarrassed myself. Maybe I am being replaced. Maybe I never mattered. This is not because the brain is dramatic for fun. It is because a threat detection system would rather overreact than miss danger. The calmest interpretation is not always the one evolution favored. The safest ancient strategy was often assume the rustle in the grass might be a predator until proven otherwise. Modern rejection is full of emotional rustles in the grass. A three-dot typing bubble appears and disappears. Someone views your message and does not answer. A group chat goes quiet after you speak. A person's tone changes by half a degree. Your brain leans forward like an ancient hunter listening in the dark. Something is wrong. Find it. Now. The tragedy is that this system can make you suffer before anything is confirmed. It turns ambiguity into injury. It turns silence into evidence. It turns distance into danger. And because the body gets involved, the pain feels real. Your heart changes rhythm. Your stomach tightens. Your muscles tense. Your attention narrows. This is not imaginary just because the threat is social. The body is part of the brain's alarm system. It prepares you to act, repair, withdraw, defend, explain, chase, hide, or freeze. Rejection hurts because the body believes something important has happened. And often, something has not because you are worthless, but because connection is real. The pain is real because the need is real. Humans are not built to be untouched by rejection. A person who feels nothing when rejected is not necessarily stronger. They may simply be disconnected from a system that was meant to keep humans bonded. The goal is not to become a stone. A stone does not get rejected. It also does not love anyone, which is a fairly limited lifestyle. The deeper goal is understanding the alarm. When rejection happens, the ancient brain may say, "This means you are unsafe." But the modern mind can slowly learn to ask a better question. Is this danger or is this pain? Because those are not the same thing. Pain means something mattered. Danger means you are not safe. Rejection often creates pain, but it does not always mean danger. It does not always mean exile. It does not always mean your worth has been measured and found missing. Sometimes it means someone could not meet you. Sometimes it means a door closed. Sometimes it means a group was not your group. Sometimes it means the future you imagined has to be rebuilt somewhere else. That does not make it painless, but it makes it less absolute. And the brain needs that distinction. Because if every rejection becomes proof that you are fundamentally unwanted, the ancient alarm never turns off. It keeps searching for the tribe that rejected you. It keeps scanning for the next sign. It keeps living outside the fire, even when you are already safe inside another room, another life, another chance. This is why rejection can become one of the most powerful emotional teachers. Not because it teaches you that you are unworthy, but because it reveals how deeply your brain was built for connection. The pain points to the bond. The alarm points to the need. The fear points to the ancient human truth that none of us were designed to survive completely alone. Modern culture often tells people to be independent, unbothered, detached, and impossible to hurt. But the human nervous system did not evolve for perfect attachment. It evolved for belonging. So when rejection hurts, it is not proof that you are weak. It is proof that your brain still treats connection as something sacred, practical, and necessary. The problem is that your brain sometimes confuses one closed door with the end of the village. It confuses one person's no with the whole tribe turning away. It confuses a painful moment with a permanent verdict. That is the ancient mistake. A useful alarm in an old world becomes a cruel narrator in a new one. So return to that message on the screen. The few words. The silence. The rejection that made your stomach drop before you could think. Your brain was not just reacting to pixels. It was reacting to an ancient memory older than language. The fear of being left outside. The fear of losing the group. The fear that love, safety, and belonging could disappear. But now you can see the alarm more clearly. It is old. It is loud. It is trying to protect you. But it is not always telling the truth. Rejection hurts because belonging once meant survival. But one rejection is not the whole tribe. And one closed door is not the end of your story.